Welcome back. Just before we start off with our big debate with our politicians from all sides of the political divide, just want to answer that simple question, and it's a question which has been troubling me. I come from Uttar Pradesh myself, and I can tell you that I can't fathom why Yogi Adityanath would go to this extent not to act against Mr. Sengar. So who is he, and why is Yogi Adityanath not in a position to act against him despite 3 days of national outrage? Sengar happens to be a Thakur leader from Brahmin-dominated Unnao district of Uttar Pradesh. Kuldeep Sengar has been an MLA since 2002. He's a well-known party hopper. He's been a part of the Congress party. He's been a part of the Bahujan Samaj party, the Samajwadi party, and now the Bharatiya Janata party. Both wives, Sangeeta and his brother, Manoj Sengar, also dabble in politics. He's considered to be close to Thakur leaders within Uttar Pradesh, and maybe that's one of the most significant reasons why action has not been taken against him so far. Supposed to be a close associate of Raja Bhaiya as well. Simple question is this, that irrespective of what may be the big modalities associated with Mr. Sengar, we need to ask ourselves only one question. Why is Mr. Sengar, why is Kuldeep Sengar becoming such a holy cow for Yogi Adityanath? So let me take a straightforward position on the program tonight, folks. Kuldeep Sengar rape case, the accusations against him are not just about Kuldeep Sengar. This is not an isolated case anymore. It has now become a litmus test for Yogi Adityanath. For a man who became Chief Minister after getting the third biggest victory in the history of independent Indian elections, UP Chief Minister has come under consistent and intense fire. His mandate of governance seems to be slipping away. Late action now in case of Sengar will only ruin his chances further. Let's kick off with our big debate. Can action be taken against him, or can Kuldeep Sengar still step down on his own? Narendra Taneja is representing the Bharatiya Janata party, Jaiveer Shergill, spokesperson of the Congress party, and Sharad Pradhan, senior journalist who's been with us, giving us a ground view on what's really happening on the ground. So Sharad, let me first begin with you. It troubles me, Sharad, that despite 3 days of national outrage, the BJP president having gone and met Yogi Adityanath, still we are not clear whether there will be any action against Sengar or not. So is Kuldeep Sengar basically not guilty? Is that the reason? Is the UP administration convinced that he's not guilty, and therefore is that the reason why no action against him so far?
No, certainly not. From what I have gathered from the officials concerned, they are convinced that the fellow is guilty. But the whole trouble is that he has become a holy cow because the party wants to shield him at the moment. Amit Shah was in town the whole day today, and the loud talk was that he is probably take a call on what is to be done about Sengar. But eventually, until now, nothing has happened. The report, the police, senior police officials who were on the spot today, they have submitted their reports to the government, and Yogi Adityanath is still sitting over it. But perhaps there is one reason that they say, there is the Vidhan Parishad, which is the legislative council elections are around the corner, and the vote, every single vote matters, which is the upper house of state legislature. And this Sengar,
so no action against him
as Mukhtar Ansari faced, he was not allowed to wait.
So no action against him, Sharad?
That could be one of the reasons.
So no, are you saying no action against Sengar?
No action so far.
Because elections are around the corner? Because local body elections are around the corner, therefore you can't act against the Thakur leader?
Nobody can think of any other thing unless Amit Shah is protecting him, and he wants to, doesn't want to take any action to be taken against him.
Narendra Taneja, what's going on?
There is no other logical reason.
That's
no other logical reason
that's
why
what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm trying to understand, that there is no logic. What is unfolding now, Narendra Taneja, is defying logic. So can you explain to us what's the rationale? Either the BJP is convinced that he's not guilty, and I'm willing to believe that, or the BJP is convinced that if you act against him, then the Thakur community will alienate you, therefore you have to stick on to him. You have to hold on to him. Which of these two reasons is the reality, Mr. Taneja?
So that, you see, that I'm just also trying to see logic in what Mr. Pradhan is talking about. Exactly what I'm trying to do. Logic. You see, saying that he has become holy cow. There is only one holy cow. You see, and saying that, you say, SIT has been constituted, investigation is going on. Once the findings are there, the report is submitted. As you know, Supreme Court, High Court, everyone today is practically, the media, of course, you know, everybody is keeping an eagle eye on the whole issue. Do you think in such a situation, you know, the party would be doing what party, according to Mr. Pradhan, is trying to do? The second thing is, please understand one thing. You know, you may have your own personal allergies and dislikes for a political party, but we are a political party. Do you think we'll put everything in the stake to protect one person because you have a certain view about that person?
That's what I'm trying to understand.
Like India, where everything is governed by law.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
You know,
that's what I'm trying to understand.
Just a second. Just a second. Bhupen, just a second. Where things are, where law is supreme, do you think that, you know, at the same time, there may be, there are different versions, we all know about that, but I'm not here to defend anyone. If somebody has done something wrong, the person must be punished.
Can I,
MP, Minister, MLA, whoever.
Can I tell you one thing? Can I tell all of you?
Now,
JV, before I come
about the
so let me move away from the politics.
Just a second.
So let me move away from politics. I'll bring one fact for your consideration, Mr. Taneja. And you were on the program last night and you very clearly took this position that if legally, if there is evidence, then action must be taken against this individual. And I appreciated you and applauded you for that sentiment. And I still applaud you for that sentiment.
Absolutely.
Now let me bring facts before you, sir. What is the legal position? Yes. As per Justice Verma report, Justice Verma Commission, which was set up post the Nirbhaya episode, the report is very, very clear that in case of rape allegations, the testimony of the person who's leveling allegations, who's making a charge of a rape against an individual, that testimony itself is sufficient for conviction. So I say, if this is the stated position, then what exactly is UP Police waiting for, sir? What is this special investigation team and, you know, people investigating? There is a person who's accused. There is a person who says this has happened. Now the Supreme Court accepted guideline is that if the person says that has happened, the burden of proving innocence is on the MLA. Instead of acting against the MLA, see what's going on. Your party MLAs are now saying, oh, she's characterless, oh, she's the mother of three. Surely this is not how a national political party would behave, Mr. Taneja. Yeah, Sharad, one moment. Let me just hear from Sharad, from Taneja. Okay.
Bhupen, you see, I'm no expert on legal matters. I'm not, unlike my Congress colleague here in the debate. I'm not a lawyer. But what I'm saying is that those who know law in the government of Uttar Pradesh, or for that matter opposition parties in Uttar Pradesh, those who know law of all these matters, you know, what are they doing? As I said, as a political party, if there is a person who should be basically that you can take an action without SIT, without any inquiry, without anything, right. I think the law must take its own course immediately.
Okay, I'm getting some information.
I'm very clear on that.
I'm getting some information. You are saying law will take its own course. Sir, you said law. You've been saying, Mr. Taneja, that law will take its own course.
Law must take its own course.
Law must take its own course. Now I'm bringing you up to date with law. That what does the law say? Law states clearly. But there is some more information that we're picking up in terms of what is going to happen within the next 24 to 48 hours. Now this is what we're picking up after speaking to top sources within the UP government. Ultimately, the Chief Minister will only go by legal evidence. Is there strong legal evidence on the ground to back up the allegations which are being made by the survivor? That's big question number one. There is a possibility that in order to deal with this double whammy of Dalit protests on one side and controversy after controversy affecting his government on the other, there may be a reshuffle within Yogi Sarkar to deal with all these issues. Any action now against Sengar will give further ammunition to the opposition. The opposition may get more charged up, and ultimately Yogi Adityanath knows that he has to hold on to his brand for 2019. So Sharad Pradhan was talking about elections, by-elections, local body elections. Do bear in mind that any action he takes now may have the potential of giving enough ammunition to the opposition to damage his own personal political brand. If this is where we are, so we know the law and we know what Yogi Adityanath is thinking. Jaiveer Shergill, do you believe that this MLA Sengar either will step down on his own or the SIT will create a situation where he could be arrested? Is either of these two situations possible?
Bhupenji, the unfortunate part is under BJP, the law is working overtime to protect the accused rather than give justice to the victim. Now the entire nation is appalled how BJP leadership is showcasing its loyalty towards the rape accused. It's not a coincidence. I'm a lawyer. I want to tell you something. From J&K to Uttar Pradesh, either BJP leader is involved in the rape or protecting the rape accused. In Kathua, they are communalizing the rape. In Haryana, BJP chief son was involved. In Unnao, a BJP leader is involved. In Gujarat, you remember 3 BJP leaders were involved in raping a 34-year-old woman by giving her drugs.
Let's
So
stick to
this
UP
is not
right
a
now.
coincidence.
Let's stick to
Today,
UP.
by
UP
not
right now. Yeah.
Yes, UP. Now 4 facts. Now legally 4 facts and 4 questions why the law is favoring him. Firstly, why was the FIR not registered for the past 1 year since June 2017? The Adityanath government was forced to come into action, whatever for sake, after BJP caught the women on camera protesting outside the house. Then this fact alone, that there is a audio tape recording of this MLA threatening the victim and his family over a telephone conversation, is in itself sufficient enough to arrest him.
But is it admissible as evidence?
After
But is it admissible as evidence?
CRPC was amended, Justice Verma.
Is it admissible as evidence? Can
It is
this audio
enough to register
conversation,
an
video
FIR and do a
conversation?
custodial interrogation.
So custodial interrogation should be done. Custodial interrogation needs to be done of Sengar.
The testimony, the statement of the victim for the fact that for the past 1 year the government was shielding the accused by not registering FIR, the custodial death of her father,
but can I just look at the facts again?
The character and assassination
But can I
are
just look at
enough
the facts
indicators
again?
in the law.
But can I just look at the facts again, Sharad Pradhan? There are also those who are saying that the survivor in this case, Sharad, did not depose before a magistrate, that she did not depose before the magistrate for so long. Now she comes outside the Chief Minister's residence and levels an allegation, and therefore some BJP MLAs now doubting her credibility. Which of these two versions is actually correct?
Well, you know, the woman was under so much intimidation. You can imagine the way things work in UP. You know UP so well. The way the criminal politicians, the kind of clout they enjoy, and the way they intimidate people, a common person, and particularly a woman, a young woman, is certainly not. I can imagine how she must be under so much threat and pressure that she couldn't even spell out the truth before the magistrate. And the fact of the matter is that today, you know, the evidence comes into place only after, I'm not talking of arrest, but what is stopping the government from getting a FIR registered against the MLA?
FIR.
The SIT doesn't need, you need a SIT
So the
recommendation for an FIR?
SIT being set up. SIT being set up, investigations going on without an FIR being lodged. That's what's happening on the ground, Sharad?
That is a matter of fact.
So how do you
if there is no FIR against the MLA,
so therefore,
there is FIR against the brother of the MLA,
yes,
but the MLA is going scot-free, and today he was seen roaming around the Chief Minister's office, what is called the Pancham Tal, the 5th floor office of the Chief Minister in the Secretariat.
Therefore, Mr. Taneja,
he was roaming around there.
Therefore, Mr. Taneja, no FIR, no custodial interrogation. J.V. Shergill says law says custodial interrogation. Sharad Pradhan says at least have an FIR. So my point is, why not at least file an FIR? I mean, FIR can lead to an investigation. Investigation can bring out facts. Let's file an FIR. What's wrong with that?
You see, if you know, the narrative that Mr. Pradhan is trying to construct basically is that, you know, because he's a Thakur leader and the person who's against, you know, this allegation is also a Thakur. So it's all Thakur politics, and the BJP is trying to protect that and for MLC elections which are due shortly. You see, for 11 seats. Now question here is that, you know, do you think the BJP is that short-sighted? If that is your kind of perception or that's your analysis, with all due respect, Mr. Pradhan, you know nothing about BJP.
So
your knowledge about BJP is zero. I'm very sorry to say it.
Okay.
I'm saying it with full responsibility. You can laugh, that's fine, but I'm saying it with full responsibility. Second point I'm saying, you see, there is a machinery, there are different departments, and I repeat it. I cannot ask this micro question because I'm not there on the ground. A Congress is there on the ground.
That is the fundamental
Mr. Pradhan, you are there on the ground.
But you must address that.
I'm answering the question. You are saying BJP is shielding. That's wrong. You saying BJP is protecting.
But no FIR.
That's absolutely nonsense.
But no FIR.
It's political.
No custodial protection. No custodial interrogation and no FIR. Why?
No.
You can, when it comes to an opponent,
I'm not defending.
when it comes to an opponent, sir, you will go to other states to get hold of that.
What exactly are the reasons? Those questions should be addressed there.
Okay, so you say that those questions should be addressed there.
These questions should be addressed to
but
the superintendent of police of that area.
So Javier Shergill, now the responsibility is with the local superintendent of police. Is that what this entire controversy now? Is that where it's headed now, Javier Shergill?
Whatever jugglery of departmental shuffling that Home Ministry, Police, whatever, one fact they cannot hide, and specific to UP, that why under Aditya Nath there is a 36% rise in rape cases. I have the report in front of me. 803 cases of rape happened within 2 months of his taking over the government, which is a stark jump of 36%. Aditya Nath, rather than having anti-Romeo squad, should establish an anti-rape squad to protect the
Narendra will not buy that.
from BJP leaders.
What's the reality?
Beti Bachao slogan today has become.
Again you will say.
बेटियों को बलात्कारियों से बचाओ.
Is the defense that there are more reports which are coming out? More reportage which is happening, Taneja?
Let me answer, please.
Yes, Mr. Taneja.
Yeah, you see, Bhupen, Congress has a subsidiary called Samajwadi Party. It's their subsidiary. Stepney, as they call it in Uttar Pradesh. So earlier there was no governance, there was no police. They would go to the police and they would be thrown out or actually raped. Now there is a system, there is an order. Okay. Reports are being registered.
Okay.
You see, we don't claim that
more reports coming out.
The police.
So more reports coming out.
But we are very close to it.
So more reports coming out.
So the Congress subsidiary called Samajwadi Party.
Where the woman is dying to get an FIR lodged.
It was a jungle raj when Congress subsidiary was in power.
Only two questions which need to be addressed.
System doesn't allow a FIR to be registered against a rape victim for 1 year.
Yeah, that's the key. We can look at it anyways. The truth is that an FIR needs to be registered. Custodial interrogation needs to be done. And if that's not going on, then I think there's a serious problem. Sharad Pradhan, thank you so much for joining us. The Narendra, Taneja and Javier Shergill are going to be there with us on our second lead story as well. But just want to quickly go to another big newsmaker who's joining us. We caught up with her a short while back actually. So let me just first begin by asking Savitribai Phule in terms of why, क्यों आपने ये कब ये फैसला लिया सावित्री जी? ये जो आपका फैसला है कि आप अपनी ही पार्टी की लाइन के खिलाफ जा रही हैं। दलितों पे आपका आरोप है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी योगी आदित्यनाथ दलितों के उत्थान के लिए पर्याप्त कार्य नहीं कर रहे। क्यों आपने फैसला लिया अपनी बात सार्वजनिक मंच पर रखने के लिए?
देखिए, मैं तो ये कहती हूं कि चाहे वो विधायक हो, सांसद हो, मुख्यमंत्री हो, प्रधानमंत्री हो, राष्ट्रपति हो, IAS, PCS हो, जो लोग भी पदों पर चुनाव जीत करके जाते हैं तो भारत के संविधान की शपथ लेते हैं कि हम जो करेंगे वो भारत के संविधान के तहत करेंगे, किसी के साथ कोई भेदभाव नहीं करेंगे, सबके साथ हम न्याय व्यवहार करेंगे और जो करेंगे वो भारत के संविधान के तहत ही हम भारत की जनता को न्याय देंगे।
नहीं, ये बात की
जनता की न्याय देंगे।
ये बात तो बहुत समय से कही जा रही है।
लोग शपथ लेकर के और लोकसभा विधानसभा में पहुंच करके और अगर गरीबों की हित की बात नहीं करेंगे, सरकार किसी के भी हो, लेकिन सरकार में
तो मायना क्या निकाला जाए?
व्यक्ति चाहे जिस जाति के हो, चाहे जिस धर्म के हो, चाहे जिस संप्रदाय के हो, चाहे वो गरीब हो, चाहे वो अमीर हो, वो सरकार सबकी होती है और जनता की सरकार होती है, तो जनता ही मांग करती है।
इसका मायना क्या निकाला जाए?
इसका मैं सांसद अगर चुनाव जीत करके आई हूँ तो भारतीय संविधान आरक्षण के तहत ही बहराइच लोकसभा सुरक्षित सीट से मैं भी जीत के आई हूँ। ये मेरा अधिकार है, संवैधानिक अधिकार है।
लेकिन इसका मायना क्या निकाला जाए?
निरंतर अनुसूचित जाति के ऊपर हो रहे अन्याय,
वो तो ठीक बात है, लेकिन इसका मायना क्या निकाला जाए? आप खुद एक दलित नेता हैं, आपकी पार्टी का ये दावा है कि दलितों का उत्थान हो रहा है, दलितों का उत्पीड़न नहीं हो रहा है। इससे मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं, अगर आप ही को ऐसा लगता है कि दलितों का उत्थान नहीं हो रहा है, उत्पीड़न हो रहा है, तो फिर आप पार्टी में क्यों बनी हुई हैं? आप इस्तीफा दे दीजिए।
नहीं, हम किसी ना पार्टी का विरोध करते हैं, ना हम सरकार का विरोध करते हैं। हम जनप्रतिनिधि हैं और जनता की आवाज को उठाना ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। और अब मैं 2014 में सांसद का चुनाव जीत के आई हूँ, तब से लगातार 2014 में, 2015 में, 2016 में,
जिम्मेदारी तो ठीक है,
18 में लगातार में बोल रही हूँ।
लेकिन 4 साल बाद
जाति के साथ
4 साल अब जब 4 साल बीत चुके हैं,
इसको रोका जाए। और जो भारत का संविधान दुनिया के संविधान से सबसे अच्छा संविधान भारत का संविधान है और भारत के संविधान में समता, स्वतंत्रता, बंधुत्व, न्याय है और भारत का संविधान जिस तरह पूरी तरीके से लागू हो जाएगा उस दिन भारत में चिराग उठा करके भी आप गरीबी
बहुत अच्छी बात है,
भारत में गरीबी नहीं पाएंगे।
सुनने में अच्छा लगता
बढ़िया
है।
भारत का संविधान है,
सुनने में अच्छा लगता है।
संविधान को लागू कराने के लिए, आरक्षण का कोटा पूरा कराने के लिए और जो संविधान में कार्यपालिका, न्यायपालिका और विधायिका में जो अनुसूचित जात, पिछड़ी जात, जनजातियों के लिए जो आरक्षण की व्यवस्था है उसको पूरी तरीके से लागू कराया जाए, इसके लिए मैं निरंतर मांग कर रही हूँ।
Okay. Savitri ji, dhanyawad. Thanks very much, Savitri ji, for joining us and giving us your view. The point is simply this, that after 4 years, if a leader starts speaking out, then questions must also be raised as to, is the leader speaking out because ground realities have changed, or is the leader speaking out maybe because of some personal interest? Let's move on to the second lead on the program tonight. The second big story is about Facebook. Over the last month or so, there has been an intense debate which has gone on in India about whether our personal data was breached, whether it was hacked by Facebook and by Cambridge Analytica. Now, by Mark Zuckerberg's testimony, which he's been giving even as we speak, he's been speaking before the US Congress. Yesterday, he spoke before the US Senate. Mark Zuckerberg is trying to say sorry. While he's trying to say sorry, he wants to give this message across to the users of Facebook and to the global community that he will take corrective steps. What are the key things that he's spoken about? Let's quickly run you through them. Committed to ensure integrity of elections in India and other countries. In other words, he's admitting to the fact that yes, indeed, there may have been some impact. As far as data breach in India is concerned, there may have been some impact vis-a-vis Facebook. He says we didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. He goes on to say, I started Facebook, I run it, and I'm responsible for what happens here. Facebook systems do not see the content of messages being transmitted over WhatsApp, and therefore trying to suggest that technology now has evolved so much that Facebook is finding it difficult. It's finding it difficult now to come up with constant technology solutions. He says my position is not that there should be no regulation, but what should the regulation have? He said there needs to be more debate. There will always be a version of Facebook that is free, in other words suggesting that there could also be a version of Facebook that may not be free. Where does this entire regulation debate then really add up? Just listen in to Mark Zuckerberg's testimony, which was given yesterday and continues today as we speak.
No. Senator, I don't. Senator, I think we already do what you're referring to, but certainly we're always working on trying to make these controls easier. Senator, we already give you a list of apps that you're using. I believe that you already have that control. Senator, again, we didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry. I started Facebook, I run it, and I'm responsible for what happens here.
Apologies apart, the world was expecting answers from Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's testimony to the US Congress on data leak. But his replies were peppered with evasions and stalling.
If I buy a Ford and it doesn't work well and I don't like it, I can buy a Chevy. If I'm upset with Facebook, what's the equivalent product that I can go sign up for?
Well, there's the second category that I was going to talk about.
I'm not talking about categories. I'm talking about is there real competition you face? Because car companies face a lot of competition. If they make a defective car, it gets out in the world, people stop buying that car, they buy another one. Is there an alternative to Facebook in the private sector?
Yes, Senator. The average American uses 8 different apps to communicate with their friends and stay in touch with people.
Critics said that from the word go, Zuckerberg was skirting around a number of points and often didn't have straight answers.
Did you have a monopoly?
It certainly doesn't feel like that to me.
Okay.
This has prompted many in the US media to call it a show trial that's designed to fail. A show that gave the pretense of a hearing, but in reality was designed to deflect and confuse. On more than one occasion, the internet genius appeared not to perceive the query.
How long do you keep a user's data?
Sorry,
How long do you keep a user's data?
Grilled over what happens to users' personal information on deletion of account, Facebook's top boss's standard reply was that he didn't know and will ask his crew to find out solutions to questions asked.
If they choose to delete their account, how long do you keep their data?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, but I think we try to move as quickly as possible, and I can follow up or have my team follow up to get you the data on that.
Some straight questions were met with roundabout replies.
Whether Facebook can track users' browsing activity even after the user has logged off of Facebook.
In 2015, when we heard about this, we banned the developer.
On the huge amount of information FB collects on its customers and the Cambridge Analytica data theft scandal, Mark Zuckerberg apologized for CA using FB data and said trusting it was a mistake.
If you knew in 2015 that Cambridge Analytica was using the information of Professor Kogan's, why didn't Facebook ban Cambridge in 2015?
Cambridge Analytica wasn't using our services in 2015 as far as we can tell. So this is clearly one of the questions that I asked our team as soon as I learned about this is why did we wait until we found out about the reports last month to ban them? It's because as of the time that we learned about their activity in 2015, they weren't an advertiser, they weren't running pages, so we actually had nothing to ban. When I went back and met with my team afterwards, they let me know that Cambridge Analytica actually did start as an advertiser later in 2015, so we could have, in theory, banned them then. We made a mistake by not doing so, but I just wanted to make sure that I updated that because I misspoke or got that wrong earlier.
Mentioning India, Zuckerberg said that 2018 and 2019 were election years and that he would do everything to protect against further data leaks. Zuckerberg also claimed that dangerous actors, quote-unquote, are attempting to exploit FB and different platforms.
2018 is an incredibly important year for elections, not just with the U.S. midterms, but around the world. There are important elections in India, in Brazil, in Mexico, in Pakistan, and in Hungary that we want to make sure that we do everything we can to protect the integrity of those elections.
About the Russian meddling in the U.S. 2016 presidential elections, Zuckerberg admitted Facebook was slow in recognizing the threat posed by Russia.
We were slow in identifying the Russian information operations in 2016.
A key takeaway from the U.S. hearing, it appears Zuckerberg is contemplating a paid model of Facebook.
You said back then that Facebook would always be free. Is that still your objective?
Senator, yes, there will always be a version of Facebook that is free.
Was Zuckerberg's apology and testimony more about reputation than regulation? Was the founder of the world's biggest startup let off by U.S. Congress over promises of self-regulation?
A very common misperception about Facebook that we sell data to advertisers. And we do not sell data to advertisers.
Well,
we don't sell data to anyone.
You clearly rent it.
What we allow is for advertisers to tell us who they want to reach, and then we do the placement.
Take from Mark Zuckerberg's hearing what you will, but one constituency that really liked what they heard was stock market traders. Facebook shares rose almost 5%, and some would say that's the biggest takeaway of Zuckerberg's testimony.
Okay, let's straight away go across to CNN correspondent Brian Stelter, who's joining us live from the United States of America. Thanks, Brian, and welcome on Viewpoint. Just help us explain, Brian, what exactly is Mark Zuckerberg saying now as he appears before the U.S. Congressional Committee? Is there any difference between what happened yesterday and today?
For the most part, no. It is more of the same today. Some of the questions have been a little sharper, a little tougher, but for the most part, we are hearing lawmakers asking the same questions and Zuckerberg giving similar answers. He is sorry about mistakes in the past. He is working to improve Facebook, and he wants people to look at the good as well as the bad. He wants people to recognize how powerful and valuable Facebook is. This is ultimately, it's an interesting 2 days of hearings, but we're unlikely to see law or regulation as a result.
Okay, so we're unlikely to see any regulation, but tell us for our viewers in India, when Mark Zuckerberg names India specifically as one of the big countries where elections are taking place, or will be taking place this year as well as next year, is he somewhere admitting that maybe indeed there was data theft, there was data breach which had taken place in India? Is he admitting that?
I don't think he's admitting that. He's not saying he knows of specific data breaches that have occurred other than the Cambridge Analytica case. We know Facebook has shut down a couple of other developers in recent days, but they haven't given a lot of details about why. But with regards to elections, we know the company has come a long way in the past year about admitting it has an important role in protecting elections all around the world. There were failures in the U.S. election in 2016. We've seen Facebook try to improve in 2017 in elections in countries like Germany, and the company says it is doing all the right things now to ensure election security in India, in the U.S., and elsewhere. Look, the test is still to come. Okay. There's going to have to be a lot of scrutiny and accountability to ensure that Facebook is trying to stop propaganda and interference on its platform.
Okay, one quick final question, Brian, before I let you go. Just on the point that you were mentioning, that the test is still to come. How close are we in terms of figuring out whether all our data that we willingly put up on Facebook, is Mark Zuckerberg in any way throwing any light in terms of how Facebook will become a more secure platform as we move ahead?
Well, I think he's defending Facebook's core business model, which is to suck up your data and sell ads against it. He's not walking away from that core business model. But at this point, with 2 billion users, Facebook is a form of infrastructure. It's like a bridge. It's like a bank. And just as we have people who make sure the banks are secure and the bridges are going to work, we need people to ensure that Facebook is living up to its responsibility.
All right.
That's why it's important for this not just be a 2-day hearing, but for lawmakers to remain involved both in the U.S. and elsewhere. All right, Brian. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan, Brian, for joining us all the way from America and giving us all those updates. Let's raise the second big question then on our second lead story and get our politicians in. Just in the context of what has been admitted so far by Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg, and what has been tweeted by Union IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, where he says that Rahul Gandhi must apologize post Mark Zuckerberg's testimony. Let's put that blunt question. Was there a political entity which was attempting, or should I say that is there a political entity which is still attempting to influence 2019 polls? Narendra Taneja is still with us, spokesperson from the BJP, taking him on. Jaivir Shergill is there with us, also joining us, Vidushi Madhav, privacy law expert. Before I go to the politicians, Vidushi, what do you make out? What do you make out, Vidushi, of what has been said so far by Mark Zuckerberg? Is he admitting in some ways, much what Ravi Shankar Prasad wants us to believe, is he admitting that indeed Indian elections may have been tampered with via Facebook?
No, I don't believe he's admitting anything of the sort. I think what we witnessed, at least yesterday, is an admission of the fact that Facebook's infrastructural network is problematic, and I think it's been an admission of the fact that there are problems within the very feature of the business model. However, I think the real problem is that we've seen a lot of worrying signs from Mark Zuckerberg yesterday. The first was when he insisted that users have complete control over their data, which is not true, because actually the most important part of the puzzle, which is user data that is used, that is put through automated processing and used for profiling, is not within users' data, and there's no way of finding out how
so we'll never get to know. We'll never get to know.
And the second is this insistence on AI tools fixing all the problems.
Yeah. So
no, I think getting to know is heavily dependent on the regulatory framework that we put in place. If we have a regulatory framework that focuses on user consent, user control, and sensitive data, like we see in the General Data Protection Regulation in the EU, then there may be a way to know, or at least stop it. But in the absence of law, really, this isn't a constructive conversation.
Why then, Jaivir Shergill, Ravi Shankar Prasad, first thing in the morning decided to ask for an apology from Rahul Gandhi. Mark Zuckerberg says that I'm going to ensure that India elections or elections in Brazil are not going to be tampered with. Does this in any way make things complicated for the Congress party, or does it add to the defense which has been put up by the Congress party so far?
I think the panelist before me and your reporter from the United States has clarified that Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad has no basis. The law minister in fact has become an expert in rumor mongering, making allegations without leading evidence. Now on the Facebook data lake controversy, the prime suspect is BJP, because Prime Minister and the Law Minister share a special bond with Mark Zuckerberg. Now Law Minister should explain, is this Mark Zuckerberg giving data to them? Now I'm telling you.
Let's talk facts now, please. Let's talk facts. Why go into rhetoric?
Yes. Now facts. Now facts. Now you have the version, let's take the wind out of the sails. Now, if the truth has to be found out, the government should register a case, a FIR against Cambridge Analytica and its Indian wing. But the BJP is hesitant to register a criminal case because they know they will be exposed. Because the BJP ally Amrish Tyagi is involved. Avinash Rai, the Indian armed, he handed over the data
maybe
to
JB may
Mahesh
have a
Sharma,
point.
Narendra Kumar and Sanjay Joshi of RSS. Why are they not registering FIR?
Narendra Taneja, Ravi Shankar Prasad put out a detailed questionnaire. He said that I will go to the extent of summoning Mark Zuckerberg if so be it. Now Mr. Zuckerberg is admitting, he's saying it clearly that yes, elections are there in India and we want to ensure that these elections are not tampered with, are not compromised. Is there a case for India maybe to investigate Cambridge Analytica, maybe to lodge an FIR? There you were accusing Congress party, the Congress party is saying lodge an FIR against Cambridge Analytica. Can you do that?
No, the question is, first of all, if you say, why did he mention Mark Zuckerberg? Why did he mention India? And if you read between the lines, he's evidently suggesting something. You just have to decode it.
What is it suggesting?
India was the first name he took. First name he took. And yeah, that's what I'm coming to. And if you go by the evidence produced by independent media, both, domestic and international, they're clearly saying that, Congress party has taken services from Cambridge Analytica. This is what they are saying, not BJP. We're just quoting them. And now the question is that's what the, IT minister said, that Mr. Rahul Gandhi must apologize because the fact is they have been doing it.
But Javier Shergill says that where is Rahul Gandhi coming in?
If they will admit only...
Javier Shergill's argument, how does Rahul Gandhi come in? If Mark Zuckerberg talks about, he simply makes a statement. He simply makes a statement that Indian elections we'll ensure that Indian elections cannot be compromised. You are interpreting and you want us to believe that the decoding is this.
No, why is he?
How's the decoding adding, sir?
No, you have to do that. Whatever statement is made by the CEO of such a large company, then you have to read between the lines as well, because after all, the people they are going to, Brazil is going to do his own interpretation, Hungary is going to do his own interpretation, but we have to do our own interpretation. We can laugh it away, but the fact remains that,
what's the fact? But why interpret? Let's say to facts now. Let's say with facts.
Analytica.
So you file an FIR. Will you ask for investigations against Cambridge Analytica, Mr. Taneja?
When you see, the question is that filing FIR, since my Congress colleague friend is a lawyer, he sees FIR in everything. He's a lawyer. Even if he goes to doctor, he's a file and FIR. He's a lawyer. So he talks like a lawyer because that's the only thing he knows.
Javier, quick rebuttal.
You see, the point here is that when it required, that will also be done.
Unfortunately,
FIR also will be filed.
Javier is coming in. Final point. Yes, Javier.
Unfortunately, BJP has to realize they are running a government and not a gossip column for the viewers and the people of this nation. If they accuse something of the Congress, please prove it on the court or apologize.
But Cambridge Analytica, I think maybe Cambridge Analytica certainly. There was a questionnaire which was sent to Cambridge Analytica. There was a questionnaire. There was a questionnaire. I must thank Narendra Taneja, Javier Shergill and Vidushiji for joining us. There is another big story which is breaking. Our lead story on the program tonight related to all these demands which are being made on Viewpoint about whether an FIR will be filed against the BJP MLA in Unnao accused of raping a woman. What we're now picking up is this, that Kuldeep Singh Sengar may well be arrested. What we're picking up now is that rape accused MLA, there is an SIT which was set up against him, and that SIT has given its report to the UP government. Let's get more from our UP Bureau Chief Pranshu Mishra. Pranshu, bring us details. What's happening now on this story?
Well, yes, Bhupendra, just a few minutes back, the ADG Rajiv Krishna of the Lucknow zone, he has submitted his report, the SIT report to the Principal Secretary Home, and he in turn has forwarded and submitted that report to the UP Chief Minister. So UP Chief Minister has now that preliminary report about the entire sequence of events right from June 2017 when this rape was actually reported or was claimed by the rape victim, and right till the point when the father has died in the judicial custody. Now what we are seeking is that though the exact details of the society report are not out, but sources say that at least as far as the judicial custody death is concerned, in that case the Kuldeep Sengar's role is said to be under scandal, and because of this particular case, that is the death of the rape victim's father on April 10th, there is the serious charges they have been found as far as the society group is concerned. That means that the arrest is likely a possibility. It's not.
No, but I just want to be clear. Pranshu, now there are two different things. Yes. One is the case of allegations of rape which have been made by the survivor against Kuldeep Sengar. The other is the case of assault against the survivor's father in which the father died. Now, Kuldeep Sengar is facing this possibility of custodial interrogation first and then maybe a possible arrest in which of these two cases, in the rape case or in the assault case?
Well, at this stage, Bhupen, if the arrest takes place, it would be in the case of the custodial death. That is what our sources are telling us, because see, the rape case is a bit complicated because there is no name of the MLA as far as the CRPC statement of the rape victim is concerned. It's also, his name is also not there in the FIR. So that case it's a different case. Now there are basically two cases in which the SIT has been probing.
Right.
One is the rape case, other is the judicial custody death. So what the sources are indicating is that at this stage, if the arrest is going to take place, it would be in the case of judicial custody death. And I think the government would be moving fast, because tomorrow we all know that there is this hearing in the High Court, Allahabad High Court, where the government has to come forward with a reply. So the possibility is that most likely either the arrest or some sort of action could be taken today or early morning tomorrow before that case finally comes up in the hearing.
But tomorrow is also the day when all 282 MPs of the 280 MPs of the Bharatiya Janata Party are supposed to be on a nationwide fast against the opposition stalling tactics which were adopted in Parliament. So on one hand, there is a fast that needs to, led by the Prime Minister himself, which needs to be looked at very closely. On the other hand, there are these images. Therefore, is it just damage control exercise which is taking place? What happens to that main fundamental case then, Pranshu? If he is facing arrest in the assault case, what happens to that main rape case? Is there any possibility of that case being handed over to the CBI?
Well, I think there are two important developments which are going to take place in two courts. One, of course, is the High Court, which is going to hear the suo motu case, the cognizance which the High Court has taken. Other important development would be in the CJ's court now. The application of the rape victim under section 156(3) of the IPC has been moved, and that hearing is also coming forward. So, I mean, it should not be a surprise if the lower court is now orders for a fresh FIR as far as the rape case is concerned. Technically speaking, once the rape case FIR is filed, only then there would be a possibility of arresting the MLA, because...
But right now, at 9:55, what is the fact? At 9:55, the fact is that the SIT has simply submitted its report to the UP Home Department. Now it's up to the UP Home Department and the Chief Minister to act on that report. What's the possibility of at least an FIR being filed? An FIR being filed against Kuldeep Sengar and possibly being picked up and being, well, placed in police custody, if not a police lockup tonight itself. What's the possibility of that, Pranshu?
See, there's a very strong possibility, because we have gone through that FIR which was registered in the case of assault. It mentions 4 people along with others. Now, when the MLA's brother was arrested, it was during the course of investigation as far as the others column was concerned. So I think even the Kuldeep Sengar's arrest could come in connection to that FIR, which was filed because of the evidence leading to assault on the rape victim's father. So at this stage, most likely what sources are telling us that arrest can most likely take place in the case of assault. As far as the rape case is concerned, that case is already pending before the lower court, and also we know that the PI is already before the High Court. So I think the government will wait for that, but the immediate arrest can of course take place in the case of assault. All right,
Pranshu, thanks so much for joining us with all those details. So possibility at this stage of arrest finally of that MLA who's really become a source of huge embarrassment for the Bharatiya Janata Party. It defies logic as to why would this action be taking place now 3 days down the line, and that too, even when we're talking about action, we're not talking about action in the rape case, we're talking about action in that assault case in which unfortunately the survivor's father ended up dying. Let's into a short break. On the other side, hero, villain and ridiculous, and then Epicenter will take the story forward.